I was muted. Good morning, everybody. It's Cowboy, aka Nick here. I've got Ben Kelleran with us. Kelleran's Corner, and Kelleran's Corner is an awesome show, and Ben is an awesome dude. We actually we sat. When was it? I don't know, a week ago, less than that. We had some cigars. We chatted it up, and basically, look, Ben's got this mind that just has a lot of things on lock, and it isn't just like offshoring and energy and stuff like that. Ben has a great look on politics as well, a look on which I'm sure we agree on most everything. I can't think of anything we disagree on. We're going to get into that, but before we do, go ahead, look in the description. Paid sponsor Algo Factory. I got a free algo that I put in there. You get to see how I make it. You get to see how I turn it into code using Grok.ai, and I show you tools that the traders use to plug that into their brokers so they can trade while they're not at the computer. And then, just as importantly, if not more, Ben Kelleran's info, as far as I think it's your Substack and website. I put that in the description as well. But Ben, before we get started, where can we find you? Just spell out your website or your Substack for people.
Yeah, so if you just look up Contrarian Corner, both with 2Ks, I get the joke that I was 1K short with that. But anyway, the the Substack is called Contrarian Corner. You can just Google it or type it in, contrariancorner.com. And then the social media profile is the same thing, but you can also find me on YouTube. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, there's all kinds of places to find you, Ben. And we were just kind of chatting a little bit. You wanted to talk a little bit about the 50-year mortgage, and I was going to opt for the 85-year mortgage personally, but what do you think? Is this a good idea?
Yeah, I was thinking the generational debt slavery 200-year mortgage was like my preferred option. But no, I think this is really an interesting look at some of the political stuff going on, because it seems like every you've got donor groups, you've got cabinet members, and you've got these different interest groups that are involved in the Trump administration, and everyone seems to be looking for a little bit of quid pro quo. And whether it's like the news you see about guaranteeing AI loans or guaranteeing some of the stuff going on there, right? That's just musical chairs. And you see it now in real estate with this 50-year mortgage bullshit where it's like, okay, let's figure out how to keep propping up the housing market, because boomers can't ever see the value of real estate go down, at least in real terms. And right, so we subsidize demand, like we must like subsidize demand, and it's just an infinite cycle, because we basically have created the system that's designed to asset strip the economy. And no one, this is the thing that I think people are missing, is the 50-year like loan idea. There are only maybe a couple businesses in the world that I would ever loan money to or consider loaning to for 50 years. And it's probably Berkshire Hathaway and maybe a couple others, right? Where like there's going to be a ton of changes over 50 years. And one of the things that happens to houses over 50 years is, especially with the way they're built nowadays, is you're going to spend a shitload on repairs, and there's a pretty good chance that thing's not going to be standing in 50 years. So the whole idea that we can just drop monthly payments by a certain amount because, oh, the rates aren't going to be that much higher, or right, no bank is going to look at a 30-year at what, 6% now, I think is roughly where mortgage rates are. Right, no bank in the right mind is going to look at 50 years and say, yeah, we'll do it at like 6.5. No, it's going to be like 8 or 9%. Right. So unless you are manipulating that side of things on the rate, you're going to be getting dinged. You're not going to be building equity unless the house value continues to skyrocket, which maybe they just hyperinflate. So maybe it does go up in value. But the whole idea that 50-year mortgage is going to be making housing more affordable, I think it's too late for that. And the whole like wealth extraction system of like what we do with property taxes in some areas of the country, what we do, and where like housing values are already. This whole 50-year mortgage idea, I think, is just a a joke, and you see the reaction to it on Twitter, which was interesting because basically I follow a mix of people from like FinTwit to current events, politics, and some sports stuff, and everyone's talking about it. And this is where I think the Trump administration needs to get their act together pretty quick if they want to have people turn out for the midterms. Because, I mean, you look at what's happened over the last 9 months, you're not exactly going to be getting enthusiasm from younger voters. And that's something I think we can go into a little bit later. But the vote swing from young men, basically under 30 in 2024, was massive for Trump. And if he keeps going down this path, people are just going to be basically saying, fuck it. Like, I'm not going to waste my time.
Well, sure, but what if young people continue not to be able to afford to buy a house?
Well, I mean, what's the point of showing up for Trump if he's not going to do jack shit about it, right? That's the thing is you have kind of the last year where it's like, okay, we'll give him a chance, like see what he can do. You have the failed assassination attempt and other things where that was a close call, and you see some things on the agenda where it seems like, hey, this would be a good idea. But if you sell people a bill of goods, like we're already at a like point where people are openly questioning the legitimacy of our federal government, and that's more prevalent as you get younger and younger, right? So that problem is getting louder and louder as older generations cycle out, right? And one of the things that people try and deflect from as far as some of the other issues going on is, right, I'm basically, my solution for America is mass deportations and then figure it out after that. Because you look at the real estate issue, you look at crime rates, you look at unemployment, you look at real wages, you look at all these different issues, right? If you get rid of 50, 100 million people, right? Yeah, maybe your GDP goes down, but worshiping at the altar of GDP is how we got into this mess. And I think you see GDP per capita go up significantly, right? And you've got, what is it, like 59% of people here illegally are on welfare, or receive some form of welfare. So it's like, okay, you start getting rid of that. You start getting rid of people that are leeches on the system, and you're going to have, I think, some major changes, right? And so it's one of those things where, right, I think we'd be better off with 50 million deportations than 50-year mortgages.
Well, sure. Yeah, I get that. And by the way,
I'll do one better
here.
How about 50-year mortgages? And now it's just been announced that we're going to have 180-month auto loans are being offered in the U.S.
We were going to get
signs of a greater economy.
We're going to call them a 48,000 day auto loan, just to make people feel better.
Yeah, there's someone in the administration rubbing his hands in glee when they're floating that idea. That's for sure. But the whole idea that you should look at a 15-year asset in theory, and or look at an asset like a car and take a 15-year note against it, is just lunacy, especially when it's not like you're looking at a indestructible pickup truck from the 70s or 80s. You're looking at the shit that is produced today, right? If you have most of these cars, like I look around and there are certain things that you see on the road where it's just like, yeah, it won't be there for much longer. But if you have anything with a turbo or a supercharger, or you have anything with certain construction, like a bunch of the stuff made here in the US, it doesn't really matter. Like, you basically have to have a natural internal combustion engine made, primarily in Japan, but there are others that I think are halfway decent. And I think stick shift is the way to go as far as anti-theft device, and probably lasting longer. Definitely helps the brakes. But the whole thing where, like, most of these cars are not going to be on the road in 5 or 10 years. So you're just rolling that into a new car whenever you need a new one? I mean, it's just silly. It's not a serious
Unless
proposal.
you're gonna get a 180-month loan on a 911 GT3 or any one of the rare 911 GT cars. Then at that point, it's not worth it, because at that point you're gonna get an appreciating asset that does well. Or you get one of those. But again, those 180-month loans are not offered to people that have the means or the credit to actually get one of those.
Well, and what rate is it going to be at, right?
Yeah.
Where if you're a bank and T-bills are at what, 4% and change, whatever it is, right? Looking at the Dodge Hellcat and Dodge Challenger types, like what interest rate are you offering them? 15 minimum, right? Because they're going to pay it, and then eventually they're not going to pay it. So, like, what kind of rate do you need to take that risk on as a banker, right? And most of these car dealerships are just like, yeah, I sold it, and we got the loan written and sold it off to some institution, and like that's all they care about. So it's all these incentives that line up to be a shit show. But the 50-year mortgages especially are, right? I don't think there's any way to continue to prop up real estate prices for like the next 10 years across the country on average. And it's going to be worse in some areas, and it's overinflated to a different degree in places like California or Florida or whatever it may be. But I look at real estate as, hey, what is this actually for? Is it so institutions can buy it up and, right, collect a yield off of basically you'll own nothing and be happy? Or is it for foreign investors to park their money?
You bought it for.
Go ahead. You can.
Sorry, I just wanted to play this. We're talking about talking about things that fall apart, right? This is hilarious. Like
You bought it for one reason and one reason only: the Cummins engine. The rest of the truck, disposable. We're hooking you up with a free bed full of transmission cores to rebuild, because we have so many and you're gonna need them. Real Rig Series 2025 Ram 2500 Cummins D. You bought.
Yeah. Well, those old Cummins engines, I think, are now like some of the pickups from the 90s and 80s and 90s before they started doing the diesel exhaust fluid, and they had the Cummins engines that were bulletproof.
Yeah.
Like apparently you could run those things up to like 1 million miles.
Yeah, the saying is that the entire truck will fall apart around the engine. That's the saying, you know. And and most guys are running like diesel trucks and stuff. What they do is they get rid of those. They just remove those particulate filters and the nitric particulate filters and stuff like that, and they just run them, completely uninhibited, and it makes the truck last longer.
Yeah. No, I think the frustrating thing at like the highest level where actually I'll share my screen here for anyone that has the time to check out. I know like we all need to spend less time on social media anyway, but there's an account that's like what I would call a serious actual pollster. Nick, if you can pop up that screen share below. So this guy, I think, does actual good work on polls and some of the other things. And his profile, huh?
He's a pole dancer,
pollster.
Oh,
but
pollster.
I mean, most of the people that run polls are bought and paid for anyway. But you can tell from this guy's social media, like he's got his head in the right place. And his Twitter feed over the last like 12 hours or last day has been.
I'm sorry, Ben. Nick, could you enhance that?
I can zoom in.
Ben's got to do that.
Oh, Ben's got it.
Yeah, you got to zoom in on that, Ben. Just go to your browser and go to view and zoom like several times.
Yeah,
like maybe like 4 more times.
I think it's let's see. Yep, there we go. Yeah, so
maybe like 2 more times.
Close enough. So his whole Twitter feed over the last day really has been taking messages from random people, basically talking about current situation, talking about what people actually want. And if Trump like doesn't get his ass in gear on some of the things that everyone's talking about, whether it's canceling H-1Bs, you don't have to make it that like so fucking complicated where it's like, look, people want simple solutions. They want actual fixes to the problems. And it's not going to be coming from, okay, we could just deport all these people, but here's another financial product. We could do stuff with H-1Bs because young graduates can't find work. And we could punish CEOs for certain hiring practices that are actually criminal, right? It's in the federal code for a lot of these things that are going on. So all you have to do is start enforcing it for a lot of these things. And it's one of those things where if you want people to show up and support the MAGA agenda or whatever you want to call it, people are like, they're not going to turn up and vote, right? They're going to say, all right, you had your shot and we don't really care. And so we're not going to be seeing voter turnout in a big way for a lot of the midterms. And I'm like, again, all this stuff could change, but you kind of have these different things going on. And it's not been a good week for the MAGA believers, trust the plan types, where it's 50-year mortgage, 15-year car loan. And then you're hearing all this stuff about Chinese students because we can't let the universities collapse. And it's like, no, you want the universities to collapse. That's the whole fucking point. It's like the academy is where the left indoctrinates a bunch of people. So if you're talking about, oh, we need 600,000 international students from China to prop up tuition for some of these universities, it's like, no, you don't understand. You don't get what's coming. You don't understand what the younger generations are going to push for if you don't start to make some changes now. And so if we just have boomer occupied government where real estate prices must go up, stocks must go up, rates must go down, we're going to import infinity immigrants, and we're going to basically sell your future down the river because we don't give a shit because we're going to be gone in 10 years or 20 years, then people shouldn't be surprised when younger people are like, you know what, fuck this. You can go, you can basically take your chances with whoever comes next. But am I glad it's not Kamala in office? Sure.
I don't know.
But
at least if Kamala was in office, we'll all be awake and fighting it, right?
No, we'd be in World War fucking 3.
That's the thing, is like, I'd be more worried about the geopolitical side.
I'd be worried about atom bombs going off in my freaking.
Well, at least we'll get the glow in the dark, and some of us might develop superhuman powers and stuff like superheroes.
Yeah, I'd rather slowly just fade into nothing than be exploded. Like it gives us.
I'd rather be exploded instantaneously. You won't even feel it, man. Then you just become cosmic at that point. You know?
Yeah, but then you're dead.
No, who cares? You're not dead. You just translated from this side of the world into eternity.
Well, shit, there's lots of people. You don't need to wait for that. If that's what you want, then, there's other options for you. But don't take the rest of us with you.
I don't believe in that, huh? I don't believe in self-deleting myself. I love
That's what I'm saying. Then don't take the rest of us with you. Some of us want to live.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah. Fine, since you want to live, you chicken.
But
I'm fine dying. I just don't care to do it right now or on someone else's fucking clock.
Yeah. I'd rather.
Hey, real quick, we get that immigration. You guys heard what happened to this? This is insane. This is from the Cincinnati Children's Hospital pastor. You guys heard what happened to him?
Mm-mm.
Okay. A lot of these people that are celebrating ICE going door to door, military style, swatting people, showing up in the middle of the night. Let's not celebrate too quickly, because one of the things I had a feeling of is this is going to be turned on the American citizen, the American public at some point. There's a potentiality of that. The pastor of the Cincinnati Children's Hospital, okay, who is a legal United States citizen, okay, was held by ICE for 73 days. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
No, who's not coming to this guy's aid?
Yeah, he was. I guess he tried to get out. There's a whole press conference on this guy. It's all over the media right now. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a fucking false flag setup. It's a fake
What's a
story.
false flag?
I mean, it's a real story, but they probably did it on purpose.
I don't understand, Nick. What are you talking about?
I'm saying that this past
Are you
year,
eating something?
no,
It's not like you have
I'm
something
not.
in your mouth.
I'm drinking coffee.
Oh.
But I would say, yeah, I think it's a setup.
I think it's incompetence and cruelty.
So how does
Don't ascribe malice
he-
to some what?
does he? I'm gonna ascribe malice to this one. Does he have like a thick
That is
accent, or does he talk like all of us on here?
Here, let me see.
No, it's a question I'm asking, and it's not because I'm racist or xenophobic or jingo.
He speaks perfectly clear English.
You see, then this. If someone arrested me, is he? Okay.
Hey, I have
me
a
ask
New
you
York
this,
accent. I have a
is
New
he-
York accent. Should I also be arrested and
Well,
detained?
whatever. Yeah, you have an American accent. We all have
What
different
about
American
Ben?
accents.
Ben has a non-colloquial accent. It's kind of weird.
I have
That's the,
other questions. Is he brown?
No.
So he's a white dude who, and I got nothing against. We all talked about this. I love brown people, and they all belong here if they belong here. But just like white people, it's the same thing. But what I'm trying to say here is this guy, like, he's a white dude that has just whatever non.
I mean, dude, he looks
accent.
Italian, bro. He can pass for one of your relatives. He looks like
Whatever. He doesn't have a thick accent, and he's white. That's what I'm trying to say, right?
yeah.
So
doesn't
how is
look
this?
like
How does that
Omar
even
from-
happen? How does ICE do that? This guy either
That's the
has something
problem,
dirty
bro.
and they were holding him because he
No.
has something dirty going on, or it's a setup. You
No,
don't just hold somebody for 73 days.
Or it's just evil, fucked up people in government, which the government is filled with incompetent, evil people that are stupid.
Nah, that's
Dude,
like
you go to the DMV, spend some time in the DMV. If you want to see evil and incompetent at work, it's incredible.
I'm not
because
buying
what
it.
happens in bureaucracies like ICE, what do? They pass the buck. In the front line of ICE, you got guys who are like gung ho GI Joe, right? They're like chasing after cab drivers and trying to tackle pizza delivery boys and shit. But on the back end of ICE is basically the fucking DMV, all right?
HR Karens.
Yeah, a bunch of HR Karens and DMV like people who are about bureaucracy and passing. Bureaucracies in America are some of the most inefficient, incompetent things. That's why it took him 73 days to get the fuck out.
Nah, that's
Imagine
bullshit.
that happened to, imagine that happened to you.
It's not that hard. It's
What?
not that hard.
It's not that hard for what?
Hey, I'm an American citizen. Here's my social. Look me up.
He did that, bro.
And then what? They get to find him.
This is why there's an ongoing investigation right now.
Yeah, see, this is bullshit. I guarantee you, this dude, it's either a setup or he's dirty. One of the two. You don't just hold American
No.
citizens for 80 days.
No.
That's bullshit.
No.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what
I
this
don't think so,
investigation.
man.
comes
I
out
think
with.
I think government is incompetent, and I think when you give unwarranted powers that are unchecked to certain agencies, this is the kind of bullshit that happens.
Nah, I'm
this-
not buying it.
No, I'm buying it completely. I'm buying.
Well, I mean, I'm not buying it. We'll see what the investigation says. There's got to be an explanation. Did he give the wrong social? Like, how do you not? Hey, I'm an American citizen. I don't appear to be anything
Dude, he's
besides
given
an
them
American citizen.
everything. Okay, it finally it took lawyers going back and forth to get this guy out. This is incredible.
Yes, yeah, that's why I
And
think
here's
he's
the
dirty.
thing: this
He's
kid-
either dirty-
This is not the first time it happened. He's not dirty, bro.
He might be
He's a
dirty. He
fucking
might be running
pastor.
drugs.
Oh, stop it, Cowboy!
How do
Now
you
you're-
get
now you're
people to
reaching,
believe
bro.
your religious sermons when they're sober?
Just shut up! You're playing devil's advocate for the sake of playing devil's advocate. You asshole! You asshole! Such an
I love
asshole.
getting V riled up. It's so fun. He's putting fentanyl in the communal wine, bro. This is the body of Poppy's
Oh.
Christ.
Oh my god! Ben, look what you walked into, Ben.
Yeah. I've got
I
one
really
more
love
thing.
going to church, man. I can't stop.
Stop. Pass the line.
Got one more thing to get us back
Here,
on track.
snort
with
this.
Sorry.
I'm
Ben,
sorry.
rescue us. We're
I'll
going down the wrong
stop.
path.
The real estate side.
Oh, yeah,
This is the chart that shows why you're gonna see kind of the same political arguments happen over and over. It's not about it's very simple. It's basically, can you afford the so-called American dream? And if you can't, then politics are not working, because that's the whole point of a country, is to, right, benefit the people it's living in. If the country can't do that, then you need new people in charge, right? And if it's going to turn into a wealth extraction scheme for boomers, institutions, anyone who already has owned real estate for decades, right, at the expense of people that want to have young kids and young families, the people that have the most to lose, right, as far as the future, then you're going to see politics continue to head in the direction they have been. And this is where you have this in the same week as the 15-year car loan. You've also got talk of, oh, we need more Chinese students because half the colleges in the United States will go out of business. The people that like were supporting the so-called MAGA agenda, they want those colleges to go under. Anyone that understands where we are and what colleges do on average, right? You want the colleges to go tits up. You want student loans to not be guaranteed by the government. You want the endowments to be seized. You want all these things where, oh, like, I think we're at the fix-it stage of politics. And I don't care about like what is legal or all of the like basically bullshit about what's constitutional or what's not. You basically have the whole system where at some point people are just going to say, look, this guy's in charge. We want him to fix it. And if that means we're going to start arresting people just not willy-nilly, right? But if there's people that need to be punished, whether it's Soros and crew or right, the black guy who stabbed the girl on the bus, or right, people that are here illegally, which is actually a crime, despite what some people with Star Wars names and judges with Star Wars names will tell you.
Star Wars names. Don Lemon is a Star Wars name? Yeah, I guess it could be.
No, it's what's the one from Washington? Like Jayapal, Pramila Jayapal is the one I'm thinking of.
Hey man, I have a Star Wars name.
These aren't the defendants you're looking for.
Do not redeem. But no, the whole point is like, look, I don't care if a judge says it's right or wrong or
wait a minute, isn't
illegal.
Your name Ben?
Yeah,
that's the most Star Wars name there is. Ben Kenobi.
How do you figure?
Ben Kellerobi.
Ben Kenobi, man.
Yeah.
Or there's Kelleran. What was the? Isn't
Kelleran,
there?
It's Lando. What's his name?
No, Kelleran is actually in Star Wars, but it sounds. What is it?
Yeah, Kelleran is.
Kelleran's in there. Yeah, it's like the Kelleran system or something like that.
Planetary system.
Huh.
Yeah, Ben.
That's Irish, but it is. Didn't end up with the Mick at the front, so.
Mickey Kelleran.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, guys. I'm just in a silly mood.
The whole thing, like, my point is, look, I don't give a shit about judges. I don't give a shit about any of the right. Oh, it has to be constitutional. They have to do a certain way. It's like, no, we have to get rid of a bunch of people that are here, and we have to cut off welfare benefits and SNAP benefits, and we have to cut off all these different things. And I don't really like. People don't realize, and I kind of was writing a little bit about this and talked about it a bit on a video the other day, but people don't realize that politics has invaded like every aspect of our lives because people are realizing how important it is, because you have one side that wants to, right? You basically have two sides where if their vision for what is good is implemented, the other side is basically completely destroyed, right?
Ben, I think we lost your mic, your sound.
No, he was coming in clear the entire time. I think we lost your internet, Cowboy.
No, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear Ben. Ben was fine. There was no break.
Ben, are you there?
Can you hear me, V?
I can hear you perfectly.
All right, that might have been on my end, guys. I'm terribly sorry to interrupt like that.
No, it's all good.
It's your potato router you're using out in Idaho.
or both out here in Idaho. So
That explains everything.
Oh, wait till I come back with Star Wars.
I'm gonna call you guys the potatoes.
Yeah, I'm a freedom fry.
You're freedom. I was gonna call you EM and Nick. I'm gonna call you guys the freedom fries.
You have something before the show this morning, V?
I said coffee.
He went and saw that pastor. The pastor just got out. He had the key.
Hey, you leave that pastor alone. He's a man of God. God damn it.
It make you feel like God.
Yeah. Anyway, but my whole point with this, like the overarching thing I was trying to get at, is you have a system where politics has become so important in like the day to day, and everyone's paying attention to it now, because if like the one sides are the sides of, and this is not like, oh, I'm on team red or team blue. This is basically, on average, you've got one group of people in the country that is like, hey, I want to have a family, protect my family, have a good life, and live around people like me. And I'm pursuing what's good, true, and beautiful. And on the other side, you've got people that want to have infinity immigration and mutilate kids and basically all those agendas that we've kind of talked about. So I don't need to get into it too much. But if you have those people with unlimited power, which is what they plan to do if they get in 2028, right, then it's actually existential. And so that's why you're seeing politics. People are realizing, hey, if you're not playing to win, then get the fuck out of the way, right? And that's like the boomer conservative type, because they're not playing to win. They're basically enjoying the decline because the existing, like they're coasting on fumes of what was previously built. And people that are, I mean, under 50, but really like under 30, realize that, hey, if we don't do something soon, then there's no point in trying to support this current system. And so that's where you're going to see more and more people pushing for big changes. But that's kind of the thing that has been basically crawled up my ass in the last couple of days, and why I'm like worked up about it is because I get frustrated looking at some of the stuff, and it's just not serious. Like 50-year mortgage proposal, like it's a joke, right?
It's to keep the financialization game going. That's all.
No, I know, but
yeah, they
need
more,
I think people that I think we should be we should ridicule that, obviously, but if we start doing some of these things, it's not going to end up well. And that's my whole point, is like I want solutions for the US. I want this to turn out well, and it's not going to be as straightforward as like, oh, let's throw more leverage in the system and juice real estate prices and make sure boomers' real estate values don't go down, right? It's going to be, how do we make real wages go up? How do we make real estate more affordable? How do we make the culture a better place for raising families and like turn things around that way? And if we don't see some of that, then people are not going to be interested in like backing the so-called conservatives, right? And people have rightly pointed out that, hey, the ones like conservatives are just liberals driving the speed limit, right? And if you really look at it, they're basically doing the same thing that they've always done. And in some ways, like that's the actual enemy, right? Those are the people that are going to, right, cancel you for like my favorite. I don't know if you saw this with Dave Portnoy, the Barstool guy.
Oh yeah, we got
apparently someone was flinging insults, and then it's like, oh, we're gonna get him arrested and try and ruin his life. It's like, okay,
are you serious? They want to get him arrested?
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah. They have that in Germany, where you say something against.
It was disturbing the peace.
Wait, what did he do? Like he said he gave he insulted some people.
F the Jews or something like that.
Yeah, there's some
in America.
Yeah,
You could say that in America. It's fine.
yeah. It was
You
on
can't
get
the
arrested
pizza
for it.
review in Alabama, in a red state, no less, man.
Did you do it in public or was it on video?
It was on video in public.
What I mean is, it wasn't like a YouTube thing.
No,
All right. I mean, you can say that. It's fine.
well,
You can't. I mean,
didn't
I'll
didn't
look that.
stop
I
them
mean,
from getting disturbing the peace charge and all this. So it's
no, I mean, if you're disturbing the peace, you're disturbing the peace. If he's like yelling and throwing things around and disturbing the peace, then that's disturbing the peace. But it's not a freedom of speech issue. You know, each issue. You start talking like that, they're going to put me in jail for 78 days. Threw change. Okay, it says that he got arrested because he threw change / coins at Dave. That's what Short Bus Mooner is saying. It's about.
that's terrible.
So it's not because he
He must
said
be
"F the Jews" or
traumatized.
whatever. It's because he threw stuff, and that's
He
you know
disturbed the cheese.
that's pretty weak. I mean, technically, you can get arrested for that. You know, if someone threw coins at me and was a jerk, like I probably would just not worry about it. But some people are sensy.
well, that's the thing is like you have people that will, and this goes back to this is the last point I want to make before going into a couple things on the market I think are interesting. But this goes back to like the people call it a narco tyranny, but it's the selective enforcement of the law where, okay, if the system is going to get mad about like, oh, this guy threw some coins at Dave Portnoy and isn't a fan of the tiny hats, right? We're going to give him misdemeanor, like $2,500 bond, and we're also going to do what we can to get him kicked out of college and try and ruin his life and publicly humiliate him. And the same system is trying to get the guy who stabs Arena, I can't remember her last name, on the bus.
That
was gibberish to me, but
Yeah, it was kind of gibberishy.
my point is, right, that same system is trying to get that guy released because he's too stupid to stand trial or whatever. It's people look at that and realize, look, this system is not going to be around for much longer if we keep going down this path. And it's the coin throwing. Apparently, Short Bus is telling us the coin throwing is what did it. Maybe it is, but at the end of the day, like
you shouldn't throw coins at people who live in glass houses, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
the moral of the lesson, boys and girls.
Israeli houses.
I mean, that's the thing is like the selective enforcement of certain rules. It's not about what's right anymore or good, true, and beautiful or whatever principles you want to look at. It's just turned into a shit show. So that's kind of the rant on that. There is something else that kind of caught my eye for.
Well, I know we kind of before we leave that. So just so everybody gets it, anarcho tyranny is where you hold good, normal people legally accountable for, say, like putting their comma in the wrong place on their tax return, but you let the guy go that stabbed a girl on the bus. Like that's what anarcho tyranny is. So you let the criminals go free, and then the normal people you prosecute for every little thing. That just to sum that up for those who might not have heard that term.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. The whole thing, I guess, just to put a bow on it, is just what gets me worked up, gets a lot of young people worked up. Is you see how the system has basically been manipulated to screw with things, and it is not going to change by the system is not going to change itself, right? So you're going to need either a bunch of new people in power or a bunch of people changing things at the local level, or you're going to need someone to come in and say, I'll fix it. But it's going to be it's not going to be by passing a bunch of laws through Congress and doing a whole bunch of stuff to punish judges. It's going to be because, hey, you remember that judge that arrested the 80-year-old lady for praying outside an abortion clinic? Yeah, we're going to hang her. Like that's where this ends up if we don't like change course. Right. And so,
well, that's why they killed Charlie Kirk.
Well, that's
among
the thing
other
is like
reasons. Because
you-
Charlie Kirk's a moderate. So now you got Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes is,
And
you
why
know,
is
I
Nick
mean,
Fuentes rising? Why is he being greenlit everywhere? He's everywhere. Like, come
yeah,
on,
I mean, look,
you
there's
know?
a lot of things that he says that are totally true and need to be paid
No,
attention
I
to. And
agree,
then there's
but
other stuff that he mixes in that's actually rather dangerous.
yeah.
well, I'll say two things about that. It's like the first reason he's going, you see him all over the place on social media, is he actually is very easy to clip and very entertaining in like 1 to 2 minute spurts. And he's funny, man. Like some of the stuff he's saying is like, this guy, right? He's not like Ben Shapiro, where it's just like, how does anyone listen to this guy at all? Like, he's very entertaining. So there's that. And then I'm sure there's some amplification going on, and you kind of combine those things. And plus like most of the stuff he's talking about, I think makes sense at the current stage of things.
It's true.
Right.
No.
And
I've listened. I never gave Nick Fuentes a chance. And because of some stuff I was doing recently, I did have to go through like one of his podcasts. And like on that particular podcast, there was, I can't think of much that didn't make sense that he said. So now the problem here is that, I don't know, like I said, you had Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk was far less inflammatory than Nick Fuentes, right? And I've read some things that Nick Fuentes has said that are like, oh, why does he consider Joseph Stalin a hero? Like, you know what I mean? So there's some strange things about Fuentes, and the thing about Fuentes, to take it back into a little bit of history here, because I like had to look into him. He started off as a young person debating. They tried to cancel him. He somehow made it through all of that. They took him off all the apps and everything else. And now it does seem, like you said, Ben, that he is getting amplification. And what we're kind of running into is, like I said, I couldn't, from the 2-hour podcast with Tucker Carlson that I watched, I couldn't like think of anything I disagree with that he said for the most part, except for the Stalin thing, maybe. And he even said like, whatever. But look, a lot of people who follow that guy are on the fix it side of things. So it's not that, you know, like Ben, explain the fix it thing to everybody really quick, because you've only alluded to it, but you haven't, like, let's let the audience know your opinion of fix it politics before we get too far into that talk.
yeah, so the thing that I think people are missing about this is because the status quo has been like what everyone's used to was in theory more functional, or it was just not quite as obvious how much of a shit show it was maybe back in the day. So I think people look at what has been going on and they just see a bunch of problems. And if there's no path to make changes through passing laws through Congress and arresting people for insider trading, or arresting politicians for fucking kids, or like any of these things that everyone finds despicable, but we know is going on all the time, then, right, eventually there's going to be a guy that comes along and says, hey, I can fix it. But it's not going to be because we are very clever academically and the pen is mightier than the sword. It's going to be because, no, we sent the military. Like, it's going to be Bukele type style politics where, hey, is crime a problem? Let's go arrest the guys that are caught like committing crime, right? Is child trafficking a problem? Well, let's start going after government agencies and other things that are responsible for it. Is like that's the thing that gets me about, oh, this whole drug war with the Venezuela thing. Is like, okay, let's at least target the CIA if we're gonna really go after the drug war. But point is, the fix it politics is basically right or left. Everyone knows like our political system doesn't work. It doesn't deliver what a right. The whole point of politics is to rule in the best interest of the country and the people. And when you have the H-1B system, when you have unlimited immigration for the last 50, 60 years, when you have all these different agendas that are selectively enforced, you've got judges that are way too big for their britches and have too much power, like where even Rick Gilbert's saying that he had a buddy go to prison for like over 2 years for $1,500 in child support, right? That's there are people that are violent criminals that don't spend that much time in jail, right? They get out, they get off on parole, they reoffend, and it's societal privilege or systemic privilege that is because he's not able to have any wealth or economic opportunity. It's like, no, it's just a proper society would have hung him already, and that's not where we live in. So I think that's where the fix-it stuff comes in. You're going to see, I think you're going to see more capital punishment. I think you're going to see more people going to jail, actually punished for doing stuff that is wrong and disgusting and immoral. And I think you're going to see someone who can basically say, hey, I want to fix things. And it's not going to be the cleanest or right. There's going to be someone's going to take the approach that to make an omelet, you have to break a few eggs. Right. And that's where I think we're going as far as someone coming in to fix it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what the plan is. And I mean the plan by not our friends. So if you listen to Tom Luongo, he's convinced that you have the left with the, tranny story time and mutilating genitals and, unlimited immigration and all that. And then you have the right with, like I said, I haven't listened to enough Nick Fuentes to really kind of tell if he is dog whistling. I'm sure it could be easily interpreted as dog whistling. The 2 hours that I saw of him were pretty calm, tame, normal, and made a lot of sense, but I don't, I just never listened to him. So
yeah, those aren't the clips that show up on Twitter.
Yeah, they're not. And of course, you can soundbite anything and make it sound like anything. I would not listen to the sound bites. I would listen to, if I were to get into Nick Fuentes and his message, I would listen to something that's undoctored. But even if he's not that guy, there are a lot of people who are glomming onto him and they're going to try to make him into that guy. Right. So, I mean, you're going to have a clash. You had Charlie Kirk. Yes, he went after his own donors, as Gilbert pointed out. So, you got to watch out for why maybe he got shot. So, but Nick Fuentes, yeah, I think there is amplification, and I don't know that there's a lot that I don't know about Fuentes, and maybe V and I need to talk to some people and actually find out who this guy is.
He's being propped up by somebody.
Somebody.
Yeah,
for sure. You don't get that.
His rise is not organic. Okay, this kid's been bolted for so many years. For him to come out of nowhere and being pushed, it's something about it.
I agree 100%. I think we always have to be careful of came out of nowhere, because he's been working on it for a while.
No.
Yeah,
I agree. When I say came out of nowhere, I'm talking about his sudden meteoric rise, where he's on every platform.
Yeah.
What
but
the hell?
I'm trying to be the angel's advocate here and understand that maybe that rise is not as sudden and meteoric as we think it is.
He's been grinding for like 10 years.
10 years.
And
yeah.
He's
how old? 23, 24?
No, he's like 30.
He's late 20s, I think.
Late 20s. Yeah. He's been grinding since he was a late teen. He
started because he got screwed in the whole college thing, I think 2016. So I think he's 27, 28, somewhere in there.
Yeah, he's been grinding up. I will concede, though, in my perception, not knowing enough about the guy, it seems like he got too big too fast. That's my opinion, but I haven't researched it, and I want to give it a fair shake before I absolutely say that he got too big too fast. What I can say is that in this game, as all three of us know, it's almost impossible to get above 100,000 subs, 200, 500, a million. It's to get that kind of a crowd. It's like you almost have to have backing. So for him to even be that big, whether he did it slow or fast, makes me suspicious of him. So I think V and I need to talk to some people and find out who this guy is and who, really more importantly, who's paying for him.
Yeah,
Just
well,
my opinion.
I think the one thing I'll say, this is just not like pushback, just a comment, is that he's been around for 10 years and that he's been like silenced and put on the no-fly list and got debanked from what he was saying, I think, on the Tucker interview. And right, there's going to be part of the system that wants him more out in the open now, but I don't think he's like what's
Hey
the
guys, I
guy's
have a
name?
delivery. I'll be right back.
Ian Carroll, like the guy who literally popped up out of nowhere and had
that guy was a
hundreds
pizza
of
guy like
thousands.
6 months ago.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of followers, right? Nick's been at it for 10 years and he's been right, stepped on as far as his reach and influence and banned from social media who knows how many times. And now I think some of it's organic, the interest in what he has to say. I don't think that he's great as far as some of the things he'll say about immigration or I think there's some things where he has some flip-flopping going on, is the way I'll put it. For the most part, I think he's pretty sharp and very charismatic. Like, not many guys can talk solo into a microphone for hours at a time, but I think the whole point is, like, people say, oh, he came out of nowhere. It's like, okay, in the last 2 months, he's been on Tucker and been more prevalent for a variety of issues. And Charlie Kirk and that whole situation is another reason people are looking for what's next. But I don't think it makes sense to automatically write him off, because as far as like the two media figures on what I would call the actual like the closest thing to a mainstream right we have now, it's like you've got Tucker for the older guys, you've got Nick for the younger guys.
Yeah,
right?
well, and you know, I'm pretty clear. I'm not writing him off. I will not simply write somebody off. I see some indicators that make me think he should be written off, but you know, I'm not going to just do that. We're going to find out. We're going to find out who pays for this guy.
Yeah.
Gilbert Novak said that he owns part or all of Cozy TV. There are two Cozy TVs. There's COZY TV and there's COZI TV. COZY is Nick and the Grapers. COZI is like NBC. So it's an easy thing to confuse. So if you think, oh, he owns part of this NBC, no, it's not. He owns a different thing altogether. Just want to be clear about that. Because if I found out that he owned any portion or a significant portion of something that is an NBC program, I'd be like, okay, this guy's he's a glowy for sure. But no, he, you know, that's there's a difference there.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be interesting to watch. Like, that's one thing that if we don't start seeing some adjustments from the Trump administration, then you're going to see people basically write them off and say, man, not even worth my time to go vote for these guys because they're not going to do anything to change things. We'll figure it out. Or
I'm here.
When there's actually a Caesar figure that shows up, then
that always ends well, man. Caesar figures. Yeah.
So you lose a republic and you become a, empire, which we already done that.
We have to I guess, I don't know, man. We're in a pickle. We're in a quandary. I think if we just go back to the Constitution and we gut government and get back to the Constitution, institute term limits, age limits, I think that will go a huge way of fixing this. But,
I don't see that happening.
That takes a culture revolution, because because thing is this, a lot of guys want like a Caesar or a benevolent dictator with the kind of culture we have right now.
You can help with a Hitler.
Well,
it's not gonna work, man.
That's the thing, is I think there's I'm more optimistic about what some of the young guys will be able to do, and I think it's probably someone that's, I don't know, early 20s, has been kind of grown up in this like shithole and of like how culture's changed over the last 10-15 years, but is also understands and has like certain amount of charisma and all that stuff. But we'll see where it goes. I don't think I think we're automatically moving towards something more authoritarian. I don't think the U.S. has a shot in hell of staying together if it's like some lefty authoritarian figure that's actually like going after your kids and going after heritage Americans. I think there's a chance that
The thing is this: the lefty authoritarian figure and the righty authoritarian figure is the same fucking moron. One,
not even
no,
a
no,
little
no.
bit.
Here's the thing: both of them are in some sort of austere levels of totalitarianism and control. That's bet your bottom dollar. The right, the extreme right wing. If we think that there's going to be some sort of libertarian, like freedom loving dictator who's going to take power and is going to allow you to move capital globally, that we're going to have some sort of Lee Kuan Yew. And again, like I said, the culture is the litmus test to this, right? No, he's not. He's going to be a totalitarian control freak, just like on the left. It's going to be a totalitarian control freak. One's going to want to turn your boys into girls, vice versa. The other one is going to have total, complete control. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is, it's both. Both sides is a hellhole, and it's not America at its core. It's not what the founders of this country ever even wanted. What are young guys like you, Ben? You know what they're doing? They're leaving, and they're going over. They're finding other opportunities elsewhere. And you know what they're doing? They're marrying cute little Asian girls in Asia, setting up business or whatnot, or they're heading down to Central or South America, marrying some smoking hot Latina and calling it a day. That's what they're doing.
Some people. I mean, I don't think there's a, like you said, there's different agendas. I think that the U.S. has a chance to like get its shit together if we have someone come in and start addressing these problems. Is it going to be more authoritarian and potentially see some more capital controls? Yes, but to assume that it's automatically going to be what people look at as and call like a tyrant, where, okay, we're just, it's just a Tuesday, so we're going to have our daily hanging, and just like absolute madness as far as what.
Well, yeah, but the danger of that is that sword cuts both ways.
No, I understand, but I'm saying that it's not going to turn into that because that leader doesn't last long. And
no, they don't. Yeah, dictators like that get killed.
That's
I mean, we have to look at it this way, and I'm not labeling Vladimir Putin, but how did he do it?
We don't have anybody. We don't have anybody of that caliber in this country, bro.
Sure, we do. Just not allowed to be in power. We have all
just being cynical.
No, I am. But show me in politics who's
Well, see, that's it, though.
It's
show me in politics. They don't allow people like that in politics.
Then where is he? The private sector?
Probably.
That'll be my guess. Yeah.
Who's the millions of people that's following him right now?
No one. That's by design.
That's the point. Is eventually it's going to happen where it pops up and this guy goes from.
All right, you guys are reading.
No, stand by. You got Putin, right? Putin wasn't in politics. Putin was in intelligence.
Okay, yeah. So our potential Putin is in the woke CIA.
I don't know where he is. I'm just saying he's not in politics.
It's not a guy where he's like famous at the U.S. level, right? It's not Elon Musk. It's not right someone whose name you already know for the most part. He's gonna be pop out of nowhere and Matt Gaetz for president. No, it's one of those. It's gonna be something where he basically is gonna get. It's gonna seem like he comes out of nowhere, whether it's from the business world or intelligence. But it's not like Putin was some well-known world figure 25 years ago.
Here's the thing,
and now he's one of the most powerful men in the world, and he's basically got the backing of a lot of powerful people in Russia because they know that what he's doing for the country is important, right?
Well, I think he was put there because he had that backing. That's the difference.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's almost chicken or the egg as far as the backing. But the point is, you're gonna have someone who is not famous, is not well known, but he's gonna do what's in the best interest of the country. So
And you're look, to
never
be
gonna
fair,
happen.
like this is the good case scenario. Like,
That's
do you believe
never
this
going
is
to
going to
happen,
happen,
guys.
or is this
Guys,
more like
this
you're
is some
hoping it?
this
So
is some
hold on,
young-
V. Hold on. Then do you believe this is gonna happen, or do you like hope it's gonna happen?
I think it depends on the path we take over the next 5 or 10 years. I think that
Hold on, short-circuited Ben. Either that or I can't hear him.
no, I can
No,
you
he's
hear
coming
me?
in clear, man. It's you.
Okay, yeah, it's on my end.
It's your potato router again.
Right.
Basically what I was saying is I think we'll know in the next 5 or 10 years if this current system can be salvaged, and if not, then we're gonna see a new system. I think that's where we get the shot, and not it's maybe hope, maybe some expectation for it, but I think at some point we'll get what will probably look like the closest thing to a right wing Caesar, because that's the only
Okay.
the only figure that will have a shot to kind of salvage this. And we'll kind of see where it goes, but that's my view. Is
So
that
the right wing Caesar, who's somewhere in America, in basically right now persona non grata in Obscureville, USA, somewhere within some sort of government agency. Look how monumental of a task this individual has. He has to somehow survive the American deep state. The same deep state that is intertwined with the military-industrial complex, with the financiers, with private equity, with the billionaires who have the power and the ability to erase your genome from planet Earth. Okay? It's these people that are steering this country into collapse, so they control the other side of it.
Well,
Right?
they had the USSR for 70 years too.
They're forming a techno-feudalism. That's what we're heading to if we don't stop this thing. And how do we stop it? It's not going to be some obscure. See, there's a Caesar somewhere out there. It's the same thing as QAnon saying that, hey, you know what, the trust the plan kind of deal. It's a hope, and hope is never a strategy, right? The medicine was already laid out for us 200 years ago when the founders of this country gave us a powerful form of government that we've deviated from. If we could innovate that and recapture the culture by, again, so winning, and we are winning in the media in a lot of sense because mainstream media is dying a death of 1,000 cuts. But we have to re-innovate the culture, re-innovate American constitutionalism and what the republic all means. Right? That's the real task that we have before us. Us saying that there's some benevolent dictator is going to rise from persona non grata from obscurum. That's not a strategy. That's not a plan, right? That's waiting around for somebody else to fix it, right? So what we're facing, guys, is a monolith that is in every facet of control and collapsing this economy and bringing forth whatever their new image is, and they control every single facet of it. So whoever this person's out there who's going to rise, if he tries to rise against that system will wipe him out before he ever gets a chance. If he comes to power and it looks like, he supplanted the system, is because the system is allowing him and putting him in front of you for a reason. There's an agenda at work. The people that have planned and worked this country for the last 100 years or so, they're still in control. They're still steering this thing, and they still have the men with the guns. That's where we are. That's why it's so important that we win culturally, we win locally, we win at the state level. And look, I think the best case scenario is we come out, we might be like Brazil, right? Or even better, we might be balkanized, right? So those are the real considerations here. But in terms of there's going to be this, this whole thing, I don't think so, man. Look, if there's complete bedlam breaking out, this country's so incoherent, state to state, village to village, county to county, it's shocking. And most Americans, what they want to do? They have no stomach for any sort of conflict, flight, or even suffering. What they want is a paycheck. What they want is to keep the thing going. That's why for us guys, we look at this whole thing with a 50-year mortgage and 180-month car payment. Well, this is the most dumbest thing in the world. But to Joe Public, it's music to his ears.
I don't think the public is all excited about the mortgage thing or the car loan thing. I think they're, for the most part, realizing what is going on, that the economy is not as good as people think it is. But the one thing I'll say on the Constitution is look, all this stuff sounds great on paper, and it would work a lot better and be more possible if the Constitution wasn't used as toilet paper for the past like 60 years, right?
I agree with you.
So
The problem with the Constitution was never you. It's like when you have a criminal cabal in place where everybody's a grifter, it's not in their incentive to be adhered to a taskmaster such as the Constitution. It's for them to subvert it and circumvent it as much as they possibly can with legal justifications. And why? Because we, the people, are morally bankrupt. Because as Ben Franklin said, it's a republic if you can keep it. And it's for what? A morally upright and religious population, which we are not for the most part.
It's a banana republic if you can keep it.
If you can, it's a banana republic and you're going to lose it.
yeah. I don't have much more on that topic. We'll
That's why it's like we need to be.
Oh, go ahead, V.
What I'm trying to say is it's like there's this whole consensus out there, and it's put out there by design and by purpose about. And I used to fall for it too until I woke up to it. I'm like, wait a minute, man, this is where I'm being manipulated here. The answer that's being pushed out there by certain powers that are working behind the scenes, getting these talking points out there is about some benevolent dictator who's going to come and take us over. And I used to be on that bandwagon as well. I'm like, the system's so fucked that the only way out of this is benevolent dictator. But then you take a step back and you realize how the system really operates. They want something like that, right? They want you to give up all hope in the republic, in the Constitution, in what the founders of this country, fought for, stood for, died for, bled for, because that's the one thing that could stop them. And it has stopped them in the past, but it requires civic responsibility, which they don't want you to have. They want you looking to the external, some leader, some dictator, some political party, some this, some that, some event. No, it's civic responsibility is the kryptonite to these assholes. If we can re-innovate that, we fucking win. If we don't, always remember that I always say this to a lot of people. The same idiot on the far left is the same idiot on the far right. You run far enough, it's the same moron. You chase the far leftist guy, you eventually circumvent around the world once, and you'll run into the same idiot who's the far right. It's the same fucking moron. It's the same programming, but in reverse.
Yeah, I like what Tom Luongo says. He goes, the only difference between libertarians and communists is that libertarians read better books.
That's it. Right.
But they don't do anything. As a libertarian myself, I never registered that way, but that's where I was with it. It's like, oh yeah, well, just, I'm going to go live in the country and, raise my animals. And well, I think that's a fine idea as a backup and right. Do that anyway, cause it's good. And you can even be a part of your community and all that. That's good. That's really what you should be doing. Like V said, is being a part of the community, so on. Right. But I think V, you're just mad that Epstein files didn't come out. That's why you're just.
Oh yeah, well that's not. But the whole thing is this, right? The thing that so many people shirk at civic responsibility. It's easier to yell. It's easier to fantasize about some sort of scenario that's going to come and radically fix this country. We are all the last 50 years has made us all a bunch of lazy bastards. We really are. And civic responsibility requires skin in the game. It requires us to get really educated and really involved. That's the thing that's going to save us. Otherwise, we fucking lose this thing, and we have 1,000 years of darkness. That's what I got to say.
Well, I did identify Ben, we're going to go to the closing thoughts here for you here, but I did identify where the Kellerans come from in the Star Wars universe. So now
they're related to the Calrissians, right?
No, not the Calrissian, not Lando. So Caladan is what I was thinking of, and that's in Dune. But there actually is a race of Kellerans in Star Wars, and the planet they come from is called Kaller. So they're really Kellerans and not Kellerans. But that's just a fun side note. Ben, what are your closing thoughts, sir?
I mean, I could go back and forth on all this stuff all day, but the whole last week kind of shows that the system in place is not interested in applying some of the actual solutions to the problem. And that's why you get financial products like a 50-year mortgage and 15-year car loan. And I don't think people realize what's going to happen as far as the political Overton window, like what is acceptable to talk about on a big stage in the next 5 or 10 years. Because it's changed a lot in the last 3 or 4, like especially since COVID and October 7th. But I think that's only going to accelerate. The one thing I would say, we didn't even really hit on markets at all, but this is something that I've been watching with. It's been pretty interesting to see with oil and some of the sector ETFs and big companies, like they're starting to lead the oil price. And when you see like OIH, which is oil services, XLE, which is the basically Chevrons and Exxons of the world, and then XOP, which is the producers, when you see those start to lead the oil price, that's usually a pretty interesting time to be looking at anything energy related. So they're just really starting to move, and like you're starting to see what I think is going to look like breakouts basically for a big chunk. And I mean, you've got stuff that's knocking on what 40-50% in the last like several months since the April bottom. So as far as markets go, keep an eye on oil and gas in that space, because once the stocks start leading the commodity, that means usually that big money is starting to flow into that area. So that's what I wanted to wrap up with.
Nice, Ben. V the Gorilla.
No, that's it, man.
Ben, always a pleasure to have you on, brother. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us. And one thing that we talk about on Rogue, and V, feel free to expand on this, but we're all about differing opinions. We have people on here who have vastly different opinions to each other, and this is how reality really should be. Like, we all get caught in our own like world, and then we circle around in that world. And not a lot of people are going to do the research that guys like Ben does, right? Ben, you actually will look into things. You have very logical conclusions. You don't seem too emotionally attached to any given point, probably because you're in markets and that's what works for traders, even though you're more of an invested in a trader. But either way, it's okay to disagree, folks. It's kind of what everything is all about. That's all I got, V.
And with that being said, Cowboy, take it away.